Hi everyone, and this is my chemistry channel. In this video lecture, we will learn about oxygen transport and storage proteins in the living system. So that is simply known as the hemoglobin and myoglobin, which is very crucial for the transport of oxygen storage in the living system. So before going to see this topic, and first we have to learn about this metalloporphyrins. Okay, so what is metalloporphyrins? So here the metalloporphyrins, the porphyrins are macrocyclic ligand. So it is a derivative of porphyrin. So porphyrin is the porphyrins. So porphyrins are the derivative of porphyrin. Okay, and these porphyrins are made up of four tetrapyrrole rings. Four tetrapyrrole rings reached by the methane groups. Okay, so four tetrapyrrole rings bridged by the methylidine or methane groups. Okay, and let's see the structure of this porphyrins. So these are the four tetrapyrroles with this, which is bridged by the methane groups, or otherwise known as methylidine bridge. Okay. Okay. So this is simply called porphyrins. So this porphyrin is having this is first, second, third, four tetrapyrrole rings, which is bridged by this methane group. Okay, so this methane group is represented as, this methane carbon is represented as alpha, beta, gamma, delta. Okay, and this porphyrin has two inner hydrogens. Okay, so this is simply called porphyrin, which is come under the macrocyclic ligand. So there are some ligands called corins, crown ethers. They are also come under the macrocyclic ligands. In several living systems, the metal ions is coordinated with the porphyrins and forms a metal macrocyclic ligands. For example, the chlorophyll consists of magnesium corine complex. So here the magnesium is a central atom which is coordinated to the macrocyclic ligand called corine. Okay, as like that, the hemoglobin and myoglobin consist of metal complex such as metal porphyrin groups. Okay, so here the ion is coordinated to this porphyrin and forms the iron porphyrin complex. So the two inner hydrogen atoms are replaced by the metals and forms the metalloporphyrins. Okay, if this metal is iron, the central iron atom is iron, which is coordinated to the four tetrapyrrole rings. Which is bridged by the methane groups. So this is alpha, beta, gamma, delta. Okay, and there are some substituents: methyl, vinyl, I just roughly drawn this structure. So here the iron is coordinated to the tetrapyrrole rings, which forms the iron protoporphyrin 9 complex. So protoporphyrin is the derivative of porphyrin. Okay, so porphyrins have various derivatives. So those iron is coordinated to the protoporphyrin derivative macrocyclically, which forms the iron metalloporphyrin. Okay, so the porphyrins are nothing but it is a macrocyclic ligand, so which is coordinated to the metal atom with the 4 nitrogens, inner right nitrogens, and forms the metalloporphyrins. So this porphyrin is highly conjugated, which has 22 pi electrons, which is aromatic. So this porphyrin is deeply colored, which has purple in color. Okay. So this is about metalloporphyrin. Hemoglobin and myoglobin. So this hemoglobin and myoglobin are called respiratory pigments, which are developed by the biological system. So there are some other biological pigments that are respiratory pigments called erythrin and hemocyanin. So these are also oxygen binding pigments and not found in the animals. Okay, so this hemoglobin and myoglobin binds the oxygen in animals, and erythrin and hemocyanin binds the oxygen in the marine invertebrates. Okay, and if you see the properties of hemoglobin and myoglobin, in hemoglobin and myoglobin both metals are iron only. So both the hemoglobin and myoglobin consist of iron, and so the hemoglobin and myoglobin both are found in animals, and the oxidation state of metals present in the hemoglobin and myoglobin structure is Fe2+. And if you see the molar mass, it's nearly 64,500. The myoglobin has a molar mass of 17,000. And the ligand present in the hemoglobin is porphyrin, and myoglobin also porphyrin. Okay, and the subunits of hemoglobin is, it has four heme groups, and myoglobin has only one heme groups. And the hemoglobin binds the oxygen in it binds 4 oxygen molecules. Myoglobin binds only 1 oxygen molecule. And if you see the color of this hemoglobin in deoxy form, before binding the oxygen it was in the red blue, highly colored. As soon as it binds the oxygen, it gets red color. In myoglobin also same as like hemoglobin. Okay, as we know it, the porphyrin, metalloporphyrin is highly colored because of the extended conjugation. As soon as it binds the metal atoms, it retains its color. Okay, and next see the functions of hemoglobin and myoglobin. And the hemoglobin, it transports the oxygen to tissue. So it carries the oxygen from the lungs and transport the oxygen to tissue, and it also transports the carbon dioxide to lungs. Okay, so it suddenly gives the oxygen to the tissues and carries the oxygen from the tissue and exhaled by the lungs. And it also maintains the acid base balance, so it acts as a buffer. And if you see the function of myoglobin, it stores the oxygen in the muscle tissue, and it also facilitates the transport of oxygen across the cell membrane. Okay, so next you will see deeply hemoglobin. Okay, so hemoglobin is found in the red blood cells that are called erythrocytes. So in living system, the hemoglobin found in the red blood cells that are called erythrocytes, and is responsible for its characteristics color. Okay, so the red blood cells are deeply colored, so it due to the presence of hemoglobin. So without hemoglobin, the blood may be different color, have different color. Okay, so the role of hemoglobin, the first hemoglobin picks up the weak ligand dioxygen. So dioxygen is a weak ligand which is inhaled. So it reaches the lungs and carries the dioxygen in the arterial blood to the muscles, where the oxygen is transferred to the another heme containing protein, myoglobin. Okay, so this myoglobin which stores it until oxygen is required. Then the hemoglobin uses certain amino acid groups to bind carbon dioxide and carry it into the venous blood back to the lungs. Okay, so first the hemoglobin. the oxygen is inhaled from the atmosphere and reaches the lungs. Okay. As soon as it reaches the lungs, the hemoglobin binds the dioxygen. Okay. And it binds the dioxygen and transfers this dioxygen to the myoglobin. So the myoglobin was in the muscle tissue, exists in the muscle tissue. So it catches the oxygen from the hemoglobin. So this myoglobin stores this oxygen. Okay. So this myoglobin releases the oxygen whenever that needed. Okay, so it releases the oxygen for the cell respiration process. So what is cell respiration? So it is a process of converting the glucose to carbon dioxide and water. Okay, and releases the energy. So the released energy is taken by the cells. Okay, so this carbon dioxide, so the byproduct of cell respiration, so this carbon dioxide is taken by the hemoglobin, and hemoglobin transports this carbon dioxide to the lungs and it gets exhaled. Okay, so the series of this mechanism is continuous cyclically. Okay, so this is the role of hemoglobin in the living system. So hemoglobin first binds the oxygen and then transferred to the myoglobin, which was in the muscle tissue. So this oxygen released for the cell respiration process. Okay. And next we will see the structure of hemoglobin. So the hemoglobin is made up of two parts called heme plus globin. So globin is the protein molecule, and this heme. So this heme is made up of protoporphyrin 9 plus iron. So it is a derivative of porphyrin molecule, and it is coordinated to the metal called iron. Okay, so this is called heme. Okay, so the hemoglobin is made up of two parts called heme and globin part. Okay, so this hemoglobin, each hemoglobin molecule has made up of 4 subunits. Okay, so hemoglobin is a complex protein molecule which not only consists of single heme group, it contains the 4 subunits of hemoglobin. And each subunit consists of globin protein in the form of folded helix. Okay. And the globin protein has 2 types. So this globin protein has 2 types, which has 2 alpha globin and 2 beta globin. And this is the structure of hemoglobin. Here the 4 tetrapyrrole rings are bridged by the methane groups. Okay. This is designated as alpha, beta, gamma, delta. Okay, so this ion is coordinated to the 4 nitrogen of tetrapyrrole rings, and the 5th position is occupied by the nitrogen coordinated to the nitrogen of the imidazole ring of the histidine unit. So this histidine unit is connected to the protein molecule, and this part is called globin protein. Okay, and the 6th site is vacant for the oxygen binding, and there are some substituents called vinyl, methyl, and it has propionic acid substituents. And this is about the hemoglobin structure. In hemoglobin, which has 2 globin part, and the 2 globin part are, one is 2 alpha and 2 beta globins. So alpha globin part is made up of 141 amino acids and beta part is made up of 146 amino acids. And this protein groups has one polar and one non-polar group. So the globin part which is attached to the hemoglobin contains polar and non-polar groups. So the globin part protein takes away the polar groups outside the structure and keeps the Fe2 plus in the non-polar region. So therefore the heme group is held in a water resistant protein packet. Here this protein keeps the polar groups outside this Fe2 plus and giving this non-polar groups near to the Fe2 plus. So there is no aqueous condition inside the ion region. So this Fe2 plus is held in the resistant protein packet. Okay, and this is about the hemoglobin structure. Before binding to the dioxygen, the hemoglobin was in the form of deoxy form, that is called reduced form, and this is oxyhemoglobin. So the deoxyhemoglobin without the 6th position is vacant, that is the sixth position is vacant in the deoxyhemoglobin, which is called reduced form. The oxyhemoglobin is known as, when the oxygen suddenly binds the iron tuplets, is known as oxyhemoglobin. Okay. So before binding to the dioxygen, the deoxyhemoglobin, okay, and this deoxyhemoglobin having the structure of like this. Here the iron, the central atom iron, here the central atom iron was in the I-spin state. Okay, so the central atom was in the I-spin state, that is the 6 electrons in the T2G and Eg orbitals. So which the ion was in the phi coordinated. Here this ion atoms experiences a larger in size due to the I-spin state of this ion 2 plus, which has the higher radius around this Fe2 plus. So due to this larger size of this Fe2 plus, this Fe2 plus lies away from this 4 nitrogens. So this nitrogen having the lone pairs. So this nitrogen lone pairs and the Fe2 plus having the repulsion between them. So this makes this Fe2 plus keeps away from this nitrogen atom. It's nearly from 40 pm. So due to the larger size of this Fe2 plus and because of the I-spin state, this Fe2 plus lies above the plane of the porphyrin. Okay. And due to the larger size of this Fe2 plus, this Fe connected to the nitrogen of the imidazole ring, which is also far away from this Fe2 plus. Okay. So this Fe2 plus was in the I-spin state, which is all the 6 electrons in the T2G orbital as well as Pg orbital, which was this ion was in the square pyramidal condition. This deoxy form is red-blue in color. Okay. As soon as it binds the oxygen, this ion is converted into the low spin state because all the 6 electrons are paired into the Tg orbital. Okay. So this form is diamagnetic. So oxy form is diamagnetic and the deoxy form is paramagnetic. Okay. So as soon as it catches binds this oxygen and this Fe2 plus converted into low spin state. That is all the 6 electrons are paired into the T2G orbital and the Eg orbital gets empty. So there is a rest repulsion between this nitrogen and iron atom. So the size of the iron tubulars get reduced. So as soon as it is reduced, this iron are easily fit into the cavity of this porphyrin plane. Okay. So the iron now was in the porphyrin plane, and as soon as they reduce the structure size of this Fe2 plus, it brings this imidazole ring near to it. Okay, and this oxygen binds this Fe2 plus. So if you see this distance, it has 282 pm. Now it has reduced to 197 pm. Okay. So now this ion was in the octahedral coordination, which was in the diamagnetic. Okay, and this size of this Fe2 plus reduced by 17 pm. Okay, this oxy form of hemoglobin was in the red color. So the deoxyhemoglobin and the oxyhemoglobin is known as, I have written here, T state and R state. So what is T state and R state? Okay, and so the deoxyhemoglobin is known as T state or otherwise known as tense state. When it is called as tense state, so hemoglobin contains 4 subunits. As I told you already, the hemoglobin molecules having the 4 subunits of hemigroups. So each hemoglobin is made up of iron plus porphyrin ring, which is connected to the globin part. So this hemoglobin contains 4 subunits. So these 4 subunits are not independent in nature. So these 4 subunits are linked by the salt bridges between the 4 polypeptide chains. Okay, so the each subunits are made surrounded by the several protein molecules. So these protein molecules are connected by the salt bridges, which was act as a cage-like structure. Okay, so this polypeptide contains non-polar groups, that is amino group and acid groups. So as we know it, the peptides are made up of amino acids. So amino acids are having the two ends called amino as well as acid groups. So the polypeptides having the two ends called amino as well as acid groups that are called non-polar groups. So these groups are linked by the electrostatic interaction. Okay, so this type of interactions in hemoglobin introduces strain in the molecule. Hence the deoxy form is called T form or 10 state. Okay, so if you see the hemoglobin structure, this hemoglobin is not a single unit. Okay, it has 4 subunits. So the 4 subunits of hemoglobin is linked by the polypeptide groups which undergo the salt bridge linking. Okay, so this salt bridge linking gives a steric interaction and induces strain in the molecule. So hence the deoxy form of the hemoglobin is in the 10 state or T state. Okay, as soon as it binds, picks up the oxygen from the lungs, it gets converted into oxyhemoglobin. So that form is called R state or relaxed state. So during the oxygen binding to deoxyhemoglobin, the radius around Fe2 plus get reduced. So as soon as it binds the oxygen, in deoxy form, the Fe2 plus experienced the larger size, so it was not able to fit into the cavity of the porphyrin molecule. So it lies above the plane of the porphyrin molecule. So as soon as it binds the oxygen, the Fe2 size of the Fe2 plus get reduced, so it was fit into the cavity of the porphyrin ring. So the imidazole ring of the histidine residue moved towards the porphyrin ring. So this movement result in the breaking of the salt bridges. So as soon as it binds the oxygen, the Fe2 plus size get reduced. So this Fe2 plus pulls the imidazole ring towards it. So as soon as it's moving the imidazole ring, there is a chance of getting the breaking of salt bridges. So there is a strain reduced in the hemoglobin molecule. Then the oxyhemoglobin form is called relaxed state. Okay. So now you know that why deoxyhemoglobin is called T state and oxyhemoglobin form is called relaxed state. Okay. If the hemoglobin without polypeptide chain, hemoglobin does not having any salt bridges between the 4 heme subunits, so it does not contain polypeptide chain. It has some formation called hematine. Okay, so that is if the free HB hemoglobin without polypeptide chains get oxidized to Fe3 plus by dioxin in aqueous solution, it forms stable dimer called hematine. Okay, otherwise known as mu oxodimer. So the hematine is unable to transport oxygen. So the polypeptide chain prevents the oxidation state of Fe2 to Fe3 plus in the hemoglobin and myoglobin. So if the polypeptide chain is not in surrounding this hemoglobin, that is there is no salt bridges, it leads to some other formation called hematine, because all the hemoglobin parts are independent with each other. So not one hemoglobin part is not connected with the another hemoglobin. So one hemoglobin is not dependent on the another hemoglobin. Now all the hemoglobin parts are simply free if the polypeptide chain is not there. Then the hemoglobin molecule binds the oxygen. As soon as it binds the oxygen, it converts the Fe2 plus to Fe3. So it facilitates the oxidation reaction of Fe2 to Fe3 plus, which leads to the dimer called hematine. Okay, and this polypeptide chain prevents the oxidation of Fe2 plus to Fe3 in the hemoglobin and myoglobin in the following ways. So the polypeptide chain provides a steric hindrance and does not allow the formation of hematine. So this polypeptide chain tightly holds all the 4 subunits of hemoglobin, which will not allow the oxidation of Fe22 and Fe3. So this polypeptide chain will create a steric hindrance among the 4 subunits of the hemoglobin. And the second point one is the Fe2 plus in the non-polar region and has low dielectric constant. As I told you already, this hemoglobin part was iron, mainly the iron atom was held in the hydrophobic interior. So this globin part makes all the polar groups are kept outside the hemoglobin ion unit, and it keeps all the non-polar groups inside the ion atom. Okay, so this ion atom was in the non-polar region, which has low dielectric constant. Okay, so this hematine formation only happens in the aqueous region. So now this polypeptide chain makes this Fe2 plus in the non-polar region, which will not allow this hematine formation. And if you see the hematine formation of ion, the first ion hemoglobin binds the oxygen and forms the dioxin binding. Okay, and it forms one more ion hemoglobin heme unit. It forms new ferroxo complex. Okay, so the two ion atoms are connected by this oxygen atoms, forms mu ferroxo complex, and this mu ferroxo complex will undergo cleavage and forms two ferryl complex, which are having the oxidation state of higher oxidation state of iron plus 4, and this ferryl complex ion coordinated to the hemoglobin, the another subunit of hemoglobin, and forms the mu oxodimer called hematine. So this hematine will not allow the oxygen transport of hemoglobin from lungs to muscle tissue. So this hematine formation is avoided by the polypeptide linkages in the hemoglobin. So this is the role of polypeptide linkages in the structure of hemoglobin. Okay. And next we will see the cooperative binding or cooperative effect. As we know it, the hemoglobin has 4 subunits. So now the hemoglobin will take 4 molecules of oxygen. Okay. So it has ready to take 4 oxygen molecules from the lungs. So how it will facilitate? If one oxygen binds one subunit of hemoglobin, reduces steric hindrance in other subunits due to the breaking of salt bridges. So this encourages the bonding of dioxygen to other subunits. So as we know, the hemoglobin consists of 4 subunits. The 4 subunit, among that one unit binds the oxygen. So as soon as it binds the oxygen, this hemoglobin will undergo the conformational change. That means the polypeptide linkages between the 4 subunits gets break. Okay, so the salt bridges breaks between the 4 subunits. So each hemoglobin now takes part the oxygen molecules. So this breaking of salt bridges encourages the dioxin binding of other subunits. So the series of binding of dioxin to other subunits leads to the conformational change in the protein chain. Okay. So the cooperative binding is a phenomenon. The addition of dioxin of one heme subunit increases the binding affinity of other heme units. So this phenomenon is called cooperative binding or cooperative effect. So it was mainly found in the hemoglobin, not in the myoglobin, because hemoglobin is a tetramer. Because the hemoglobin contains 4 subunits, but myoglobin contains only one heme unit. So it does not show the cooperative binding. Okay, and this, if you write the equilibrium constant for the dioxin molecules to heme group, it follows. First, hemoglobin binds the oxygen at the rate constant is K1, equilibrium constant is K1, and the second oxygen is binds by the hemoglobin. So there are 4 oxygen molecules are binds. So the equilibrium constant are K1, K2, K3 and K4 for the representative reactions. Okay, here the K4 is very larger, because here in this part all the salt bridges gets break up. Okay, so now all the heme units are free too. So the last oxygen molecules are taken at faster rate compared to the initial stage. So initially the hemoglobin does not encourages the oxygen binding, it was taken at the slower rate compared to the K4. Okay, so the K4, which is the at larger rate, the hemoglobin binds that oxygen. Okay. And next we will see the myoglobin. So the myoglobin is a protein which has only one heme group per molecule and serves as an oxygen storage molecule. Okay. So as like hemoglobin, unlike hemoglobin, the myoglobin has only one heme group. Okay, it does not contain other subunits as like hemoglobin. The molecular mass of myoglobin is 17,000. So this myoglobin binds dioxin more strongly than hemoglobin because there is no such type of cooperative binding in myoglobin because it contains only one heme group. So it suddenly captures the oxygen from the tissues. And the myoglobin molecule is similar to single subunit of hemoglobin. And if you see the structure of myoglobin, it's just like similar to hemoglobin structure. So hemoglobin has the structure of connected to the 4 tetrapyrrole rings. 4 tetrapyrrole rings connected by the methane bridge, and it has the 5th position occupied by the nitrogen of the imidazole ring of the histidine residue. So and it has some distal histidine residue also. Okay, and the 6th position is vacant for the oxygen binding. So this structure, the myoglobin structure is similar to the hemoglobin structure. And next, the myoglobin protein consists of 153 amino acids. So this myoglobin protein, the globin pattern consists of nearly 153 amino acids, and myoglobin does not form a dimer like hematine because it's monomer. As I told you already, this myoglobin does not lead to the formation of hematine as like hemoglobin because the hemoglobin has 4 subunits which will undergo serious reactions and forming the hematine like structure. So this hematine does not transport the oxygen and storing. Okay, and this was the hematine formation was avoided by the steric hindrance which was created by the polypeptide linkages in the protein molecule. And this myoglobin structure consists of 4 pyrrole rings bridged by the methane group. So as I told you already, the structure of the myoglobin is similar to the hemoglobin. Okay. And if you see some difference between hemoglobin and myoglobin, this hemoglobin binds the 4 oxygen molecules because it's a tetramer. But myoglobin, it binds only one oxygen molecule, and hemoglobin is a tetramer which consists of 4 subunits. Myoglobin has only one subunit. So in lungs, the hemoglobin has the reaction of hemoglobin takes the 4 oxygen molecules and form this oxygen binding protein hemoglobin, and tissues, this oxygen binding hemoglobin transfers the oxygen to myoglobin and forms this oxygen binding myoglobin. And in hemoglobin you will see the special type of bonding called cooperative bonding. That is, the one iron atom increases the binding affinity of the other subunits. So that is called cooperative binding or cooperative effect. It was exist only in the hemoglobin. So myoglobin does not contain such type of binding effect. Okay, and this is about the hemoglobin and myoglobin. And this hemoglobin, one more point I want to say that, so this hemoglobin is a pH dependent. So this hemoglobin is a pH dependent, and this myoglobin is not pH dependent. So it binds the oxygen, hemoglobin binds the oxygen at high partial pressure of oxygen. This myoglobin binds the oxygen at low partial pressure of oxygen. Okay. So in next video we will continue with this topic, that is the Bohr effect and cooperative binding effect of this hemoglobin and myoglobin. Okay. Thank you.